Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Good Servant Show on Thursday. A little bit late today. Yes, the Lord has been good to me these last few days, but I also need to do better than I am right now. So every day I always look at it that first of all, thank Jesus for another beautiful day that He has made for us, right? Without Him, we're not even here. And it is only through Him that I have any purpose at all. And to me, um, that's everything. Like I know that's easy for me to say, right? But when you ever since I was born, or ever since I can remember, I remember playing as a kid, or being in school, or being around a group of people, and not really having a bad time, right? Just not quite fitting. uh Everyone's not quite like me, you know and you think inside, right? You're like, everybody's just like me, everybody just wants to be nice, right? And if they're not nice to me, that means that they don't like me, or there's something wrong with me. And so the world, right? The world um, is like that, right? It's not so much the people in it; it's just the world is cold. It teaches some people to care about themselves more than others. Some people get more brainwashed than others, I guess, right? It's not anybody's fault; just the way it is, right? I don't know if you guys can relate to that, where you just didn't feel like you fit. Wasn't good or bad, just, man, there's something wrong here. Nobody's telling me I'm not cool, but I don't feel cool. And we're included, right? And of course, that could be just, as a kid, having that kind of, you know, low self-esteem or whatever. I don't know. I was an only child until I was like 5, right? So I remember being an only child. So there is some, like, you do tend to have a little higher self-esteem, being an only child until your brother comes, right? Then it's kind of a, I don't know, a little jealousy kind of thing kicks in until you get along, until you and your brother get along, right? I don't know. There's a weird dynamic in my house. And so it wasn't until my brother was born, and he was diagnosed with cancer, inner ear cancer. And I don't know how fatal it was, right? But it was surgeries on his head, very invasive surgeries on his inner ear and his head. And he he pulled through it, and it took, from when he was 8 years old to when he was like 15, 16. It was a long process. It wasn't no quick deal. He was a sick kid, right? And like he got into God, and we weren't really forced to be into God if we wanted to or not. And I sort of just kind of went to school, and I was like a third adult in the house for a little while. I didn't have like rights like an adult, but I got treated like I was like a third adult. Um, and so it was very frustrating. I don't know, very weird dynamic again, right? But But my brother's the one that brought God into the house, right? And I used to make fun of him, and I feel horrible about it now. But like I used to pick on him. Oh yeah, it's imaginary, because you learn in school all this stuff, and I believed him, right, in school. I'm like, yeah, that can't be true because of what they taught me in school. And so like you're like, so it gave me another reason to push back the only thing that it was ever gonna make me feel like I fit anywhere. You know what I mean? It got me to push it away again, right? And so joining the army, I don't know where I came up with that idea. I just know that I got married, and I lived in California during the dot-com boom, right? And I wasn't making it, right? So it was like, either join the military or be a criminal. That's what I thought my choices were. And so I don't know. I joined the army, just out of the blue. I didn't even know anything about it. Just did it, you know? And so what's crazy about that, right, is that because of that decision, even though, I had a job that was administration, it was personnel service specialist. I was like not a secretary, but like a personnel soldier, like, life insurance and promotions and records, this evaluations, that kind of thing, right? And so even though it was a job like that, I still like my own mortality was I thought about dying. Like, okay, I could die. Bomb could hit us when we're in theater or whatever, right? So you like, okay, well, I'm gonna believe in God because my brother does, and he seems to be really into it, right? And so I just sort of, hey, I like this, I want it to be a part of my life, but it was just a, small little sliver. It wasn't until after my marriage was over, right? Because I had a real bad drinking problem in the military at the end, because I had a few surgeries while I was in the military, and instead of getting out, I tried really hard and I stayed in. And that's kind of, they're backwards in a way, where like that's really well respected, like to overcome like these bad injuries, to like not quit or not get out of the military, like. And so there's a level of respect you get for overcoming that, and so you know maybe I was treated better than, I wasn't really as good a soldier as I was treated. I don't know how to say that. And that kind of, they treated me better than I really was. And so, I had a drinking problem, decided to get out of the military when it was time. And because I was not going to be able to quit drinking. There's no way. And maybe that was God giving me an opportunity to just get out, save my dignity, and keep all my benefits, right? And so I got out, right, and threw my life away completely. I mean, when my wife left me, she was like, "I'm not going to be around a drunk," and I didn't blame her. I really didn't. I was like, you know what, good for you. Like, I mean, in a way, right? Of course, like 99% of me was like, I need you to be here. I'm sick and I don't want you to leave, right? But there was a percentage of me that was like, you know what? At least you didn't like, threaten to leave all the time and cause me all kinds of stress, right? She said she was gonna leave and she left, right? She gave me a ultimatum, and I went off the deep end. This is the worst my life ever went, right? Just totally off the deep end. And that's when I first knew that only God could help me. Like, there was nothing else that was gonna help me be better. Only God. Only God could help me. And I didn't have no great experience, or no big I mean, it was a big experience in the sense that I was convicted of everything that I was doing. My whole life was just disgusting, right? There were still a lot of things in science that I couldn't reconcile in the Bible, but I knew that God was the only way I could get better. And I just started getting into God, right? And things did get better, just kind of automatically. And so, of course, after Mary Jo died, I got kind of backslid a little bit for a little while, not that long, month or so, and then got back on track. And really, I was in love with God. I just never read the Bible or anything like that. I did love God, and He did help me quit smoking and you know um, drinking and drugs and all this stuff. Right, helped me lose weight. God helped me lose 50 pounds. Like like I couldn't do it, and like so I'm like, well, how, you know, now hearing what I'm hearing now about salvation, I'm thinking, well, I didn't have that moment where I was filled completely, right? Until like flat Earth, right? When I first realized, like, oh wow, like everything's a lie. Everything is a lie, and this flat Earth is. And the very next thought I had was God is real, like for real, for real. Like I already knew, like I've already believed it, right? Or I thought I believed it, right? You could say, because I did think I believed it, but I really believed it then. And man, it was the greatest feeling of all time. Now I don't know if I was saved when I was, laying in a pile of my own misery and started getting better, or if this being saved didn't happen until um, finding out about flat Earth and really believing, right? Real belief that it really is real. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you. And but I do know that there's a million ways to tell. If you have the spirit in you, it's not like it's something I gotta wonder or ask about or anything like that, right? Like I can ask God. I mean, I could look at how like my behavior is, right? When there's a problem with somebody else, right? This is even hard for me to say, right? Because I'm very careful when I approach somebody that I'm trying to help, right? If there's a problem with somebody else, do I come to them with patience and kindness and try to help them get better? And if they don't want help, do I just, you know what I mean? Just give them patience and just kind of back off, right? Do I act like Jesus? Do I meet them where they are? Do I go to them? Do I make it some big ordeal that I'm helping them? No, I don't. I don't, right? And so you pick up the spirit of Jesus. You start acting like it. You tell the truth, but you're caring and loving, right? And long suffering, and how we love each other and how we love God is how you can tell us from other people. I mean, in my experience, and so there's all these different ways that you can tell, right? If you have the Spirit of God in you, because you'll start taking on His characteristics. And I use kind of like really bad language in the sense when I say like, and I really got to be careful what I say, right? Because miscommunication could really make things complicated, right? Well, sometimes I'll say like, being pulled out of the spirit or into the flesh, but maybe that's even not really the right wording, right? Maybe it's more like there's times where I feel my flesh more than I feel the spirit, but nothing pulls you out of it, like if you're looking at it in a physical sense, right? You're in it and that's the way it is. But there's still that struggle, right? There's still a struggle with some things. And some things are obvious, right? You just hate sin. You don't want, I mean, you're not going to obviously, openly, willfully sin in front of God. And if you do, you'll be so convicted, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I could imagine someone being able to do it, but not repeatedly, But then I got to be careful, right? Because, you know, in this form, right? I got to think about, well, is there another person that is not where I am, and maybe there is a distance from there to here, right? That I need to consider, like, okay, they're not quite there yet, or maybe they should be there. I don't know. Like I'm new too. That's the crazy thing about this, right? Is that just like you guys, right? I'm new too. In fact, most of you guys know the Bible better than I ever will know it, you know? And that's the crazy. Yeah, I think it's all in communication, because I hear people on panels say some very, very beautiful things, right? And I know what they mean, but I also know how it could sound. It could sound bad, right? It could sound because here's an example, right? Like if it said on the news, right, that there's this Black Death heroin that's killing everybody on 6th Street or whatever. Sorry about the number. We'll make it 8th Street on 8th Street, right? Then most people will stay away from there. They'll be like, "Oh no, that's a horrible place to be. Why would I want to be there? It's got all that poison there." But there are people that will go there and think it's like an advertisement, oh, that's where the strong stuff is. I want to go there. And so it just means two things to two different people. And maybe you offend a small section of people, or maybe you offend a bigger section of people, but it's not that the subject that you're saying is offensive. It's the way that we're hearing it, and from where we are in our heart when you hear the message, right? And so, like, I know that I've grown a lot in my heart, and I've heard things now that I wouldn't have been able to hear when I was, like, brand new. I would have been like, oh man, that sounds like it's too hard, or that I can't do it somehow, or that maybe I'm not doing it good enough, or whatever, right? But that's not how it works, And if you love God, and you're seeking God, and you're calling on the name of the Lord, right? And this is something you do on a daily basis. This is your life now, right? This is you understand what life's about. There's no way that God is not going to let you make it, There's no way it's going to end up being some technicality at the end that you didn't quite do it right, It's only like that if you're using God as an escape, or if you're using God as a way to avoid something you're afraid of. But if you're using God to have a relationship with Him, and 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 to be subjected to Him, and to serve Him, right? If you're coming to the Lord for that, then you will always He'll always accept you. That's called repentance from the earth, right? It's not like it sounds complicated, and no one's really quite clear about it, right? You just turn away from the world, man. The world is bad, man. And God is the real deal, and He loves us, and He wants to define our morality for us and bring us to a place that's incorruptible. And so for all the people that are, like, using God for like a way to get out of burning up, well, that's not honest, right? Is that honest? I don't know if they'll make it or not, right? That's not up to me, but I wouldn't want to go start my relationship with God in that way. And so if that's like, you know, how you're treating God, maybe it's a good time to take a look at that. But I know that most of us that make it to at least this spot, right, have, struggled to find truth so much that we find channels like this, these obscure channels like mine, right, that get no advertisement, right? No, it's not promoted. We get strikes for no reason, right? And to get to this point, obviously you know the truth about God, that He created us and that we're in service to Him. We love Him. We were created for His pleasure. So if you know that that's your purpose, right? My purpose is to please God. I mean, it's clear as day, you know? Like, He made me to do that. Well, then, if you want to do that, there's no way God is going to let you fail, you know? And it's more of a it's more of a gift. Like, God, if you want to have it, you can have it. But you have to know the truth to know what you're even accepting, right? So I don't know. I don't want anybody to feel like they're not enough or they're not doing it enough. But I also want people, um, even if you're very secure in your salvation, to examine it, right? Like, am I here to please God? Like, am I here in service to God? Is it His will and His desire that I want more than my own, right? Because that's the only time where I feel so good in the spirit, where like nothing can touch me, because even my own emotions can't touch me, because I'm doing what I'm made to do, which is a higher priority than anything I got going on. And once you realize that, life gets easier on the inside. Now, things on the outside might not reflect that, right? You might not have, 20 cars and whatever, but you're not going to want that anyway, It's an internal job, right? Now, there are some external fruits, right? If you have kids, or, another generation to pass this on to, But, and of course, how you behave, right? Hey, Mark. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad that a couple few people came from Peanuts channel. I miss Mike, man. I really do. I really do. I love him. You know. So be nice to talk to him again. Um, AJM says, to be honest, I take a look at myself every day and ask the Lord for guidance. See, that's right, AJM, right? Like, I'll look at my relationship with God every day, really every day. That's a good way to say that, man. It's a daily reprieve. No, I wouldn't say it's that, but in a daily examination, you could say, what am I doing today to serve God? Like, He should already be the first person you talk to in the morning. Before you do anything, talk to God. And there's that joy that just doesn't go away. That joy in your heart that, because you know what's going to happen when you die. I don't know. That started once that started, all those fears about, like, it seems ridiculous now, but I used to have these fears about, like, well, how much time do I have left, and how much life do I have left, how many years, and where am I at financially? Do I own a house, or my education, right? Um, I was trying to stay on track with my education, get my degrees on time, right? Like, not too late in life. I mean, weird stuff to think about, right? Like, who cares, right? Like, who cares about all that stuff? But I was thinking about all these things as if uh, all of the stuff I need to accomplish has to be done in this life, right? Once accepting that joy from God, right? That life isn't over after this. In fact, our life doesn't really truly begin until after this. That this is some kind of a fallen, defective place. Even though I can have all the tools are here for me to have a good life. Let's not I don't want to put it in anyone's mind that it has to be bad. It doesn't. All the tools are in place for us to be as strong and as good and have as good experience here as anybody ever has, right? But the reality is, this is a fallen place, a defective place, and our life really begins in the next world, right? Matthew chapter 6, verse 10. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Absolutely. We have all the tools right now to in fact, we have a little piece of heaven everywhere we go because we have God in us, right? And so, in a way, when we are in line with God's will, we're really kind of bringing heaven everywhere. We're overlapping earth and heaven. And so you get enough people in the spirit, yeah, then it really could be heaven on earth. And and that's where that's where my character flaws come in, right? That are hard to overcome. That, my character flaws kick in, and it's like, well, why doesn't everyone want that? Like, how could everybody not want that? Like, it just doesn't seem like something you could turn down, you know? Well, no, I think it's in earth. In earth, right? A lot of times they talk about in earth, right? In the Bible, maybe not in that maybe not on that verse, AGM. You may be right in correcting that, but I've seen that in earth, right? And they say that a lot, and I really believe that they mean that we're in the earth, like we're in it. We're not just flying around infinity on a water ball, like we're in something, And if you look at how all the ancients depicted Earth, it's pretty much they all drew it the same, except for what we're going through right now, which is, I think, just a huge mess. Emmanuel, God with us. Absolutely. I mean, can you imagine that, right? Like, he made us to love him, and we let him down every step of the way. And not only does he not get rid of us, because obviously we're a letdown, not only does he not give up on us, he dies for us. He takes his punishment on himself so that we don't have to go through that. That's unreal, man. That's more than what I was created by something that loves me more than stretched it to the limit of how much you can love somebody. I mean, what else could God have given us? Think about that, right? Like, what else could he have done? I mean, he's God, right? So to subject himself to that kind of abuse from us, and all he tried to do was heal us, tell us the truth, right? Bring us healing. And over again, we let him down. As a whole, right? Not us, maybe, or yeah, us too. I mean, we're not better than any of the other people in the Bible, that's for sure. I mean, I'm the worst of the worst, I mean, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people say they're the chief sinner like Paul, but I mean, I'm no better than anybody else. That's for darn sure. There's many, 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 many people far better than me that aren't going to make it. And it's by choice, Don't be afraid that you're not going to make it. Like, have security in the sense that he did that for us. He wants us to make it. It's just a matter of accepting the truth. It's just a matter of accepting what's real and what's not real. As humans, we live on Earth and not in. Well, I say we live in the Earth, AJ, because I think there's like a covering over us, right? Because obviously you could see a blue roof, right? I mean, everybody could see it. It's blue, you know. I mean, air is clear and so is water, right? So there's nothing blue. I mean, we're taught to think water is blue, but it's not. It's clear, and so is air, right? Unless you're telling me that like the sun is sticking out of the blue or something like that, right? There's a blue roof. You could see it, and they've convinced us that that's open air, that you could just fly out there until you start floating. And so, I mean, that's on you to believe that if you want. Like, now that my head is snapped into reality, it's obvious. I mean, it's obvious. And it's obvious I'm not moving either. Oh, 76 times it mentions in Earth and 36 times on Earth. Oh, okay. That's weird, man. It's like 101 times, right? Like, because you just corrected it. 35 times it says on Earth, 76 times it says in Earth. That's interesting. 3/4, right? Wow, that's interesting. I wonder if that number means anything. I'll get with Jake. He's Mr. Numbers. I like numbers too. Figuring out what it means, and I don't know the gematria of it or anything. I just know there's something real about that stuff. Hey, Rowan, how you doing, man? Yeah, man. So I mean, like, sorry guys that I'm late, you know, and I took a shower, had a big meal, right, like around 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and 111. Sorry guys. Hey, Carl. Carol or Carl? How am I saying it? Am I saying it wrong? Carol or Carl? Carell. Carell. I want to get it right. I know that you've been around a long time. You deserve it for me to get your name right. And I know the Book of His Grace says he used to have a different name, but I can't remember. The first is good, Carl? Carl. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's I want to call you guys the right stuff. A lot of times I call you guys by your names, you know, and like other people will be like, I don't see that person on there. They must have me blocked or something, you know? And I'm like, oh no, I call people by their real names, you know. I try to, you know, to make a real human connection. Okay, Daniel. There's a lot of Daniels, right? Like you're Daniel and so is Michigander. That's why I just keep calling him Michigander, because he's Daniel. There's a couple Daniels. And so is Clutch is Daniel too. So a lot of Daniel. My brother's name is Daniel. It was before that you could tell, like with ultrasound, if it was a boy or a girl. He was going to be Danielle if he was a girl, and then he was going to be Daniel if he was a boy. Yeah, I got to name him if he was going to be a boy. Yeah, he's stuck with it. Well, they named him. They gave me a choice of like 2 names. Like I think it was Jason or whatever, Daniel. And I picked Daniel. Psalms 24, King James Version. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and that they dwell therein. Yes, everything is his. In fact, this is the best part about, there's like for us, there's nothing else. There's only earth. There's nowhere to go. There's no infinity. This is the only place to exist. There is no space and all this other stuff. It's all lights that are very, very close. And everything here is specifically made special just for us. Every plant, bush, animal, everything has some kind of purpose for us, you know? And even if someone creates an evil purpose for it, it probably had some kind of purpose for us before that, you know. There was probably some benefit to that. So I just, the more truth I learn about God, right, the more I learn about his personality, his love, his life, how Jesus acted towards people, right? Think about every encounter Jesus had towards people, especially really, really apparent, willful sinners, right? Of course, he didn't want them to sin anymore. He said that several times, sin no more, right? But he met them where they were at and was very kind, right? And very forgiving. And the spirit of that is that he just wants better for us. Be better. From this point forward, just be better. And that's the whole point of forgiveness, right? It's like just don't worry about nothing else right now. Just start and be better. And that's the only way really to fix anything, because you're not going to ever make up for all the mistakes you've made in your life. The only way to make the world better is just to start being better right now. I mean, it's a concept that God knows. Like that's the only way that we would be able to do it, you know. And if you think about it, it is, but only in His power, right? With His mind, the way He thinks, in His spirit. And so, I desperately love God in a desperate way. I want to grab onto Him, right? I just want to grab onto Him, and I don't want to let go, because I know that if I can go where He's going, that it can only be good, you know. I only want to go where He can go. You know what I mean? Like, so whatever my job is, right? Whatever my purpose is, here and in heaven, or you know, on the other side, whatever, however you want to say it, the millennium, or here in the afterlife, right? Whatever my purpose is, I want to be doing it. And so we all have that, right? We, you know, whether it's just being encouraging to other people, or help building people up. And if you can really see people's faults and you can point it out, right? If you have that kind of gift, right? You know, try to do that in a like, think, how would Jesus act towards somebody if they could see something like, well, I see what could make you better, if you know, if you would let me help you. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we're gonna have to be getting serious to where we got to tell each other some hard truths, right? And because you don't want to love somebody to hell, right? You don't want to comfort them all the way to where they're not going to make it, right? You want them to make it. That's the whole goal. You want everybody to make it, but not in a way that's aggressive or rude or hurtful or more damaging, right? We have to be like Him as much as we can. Of course, no one's ever going to be like Jesus, right? But that's our template. That's what we're supposed to do, is try. And I think there's a lot of times where we, in our own ability, can like live like that. I do believe that. It says poppies are good, then came heroin. So what does that mean? What do you mean, you brood of vipers? What does that mean? Explain that. I mean, I've heard it in the Bible, but what do you mean by that? Are you calling somebody that? And it's yeah, I mean, yeah, when they turn everything into drugs or into poison, yeah, it's a brood of vipers. They're of their father the devil, you know. They believe the lie. They believe in the lie. And see, that's the thing that they don't get, right? Is that they think that our life is is like a LARP, you know? They think that the Bible and living by the Bible is some kind of LARP. But what they don't get is that their father can only lie, right? So it's flipped one more time and they don't get it. Their life is a LARP. And they're going to realize when it's over that it's all a lie. None of it's real. You can't live forever here in this fallen state. There's no such thing. You can only do it in a divine way or be destroyed. That's it. And so God fulfilled our contract. The wages of sin is death. He didn't like come down and say, okay, you're off the hook. No more punishment. He said, I'm not here to get rid of the law, right? I'm here to fulfill it. I'm here to complete that contract. I'm here to pay that price and end it. And so, you know, just amazing. Said exactly from the Bible, Jesus too. Yeah. John the Baptist. Yeah, well, and here's the thing, right? If we got to understand, like who do we follow, right? Who are we believing the lie? Or are we believing the truth? Because that's what God is, right? That's what Jesus is. There's the truth. He equates himself to being the truth. That's why instead of saying like that I'm like religious somehow, or that I'm like you know into like theology or God in that kind of way, right? I just accept reality for what it is, and we are created, and Jesus is our Lord. That is just reality. If you can accept 100% truth, right? Then you will be like the end point of all that is Jesus, right? Some people make it there without having to learn like all the crazy truth out there, and so some people need to find out all that stuff, all those lies, you know, to come to the truth. But either way, you're either going to come to the truth or you're going to believe a lie. That's all there is the lie or the truth. And most people are going to believe the lie. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy because even if you try to tell them, they won't listen. And even if they did listen, only God could create them as a new believer. It's nothing. It's not like any other sales job you ever had. You know, it's like you could, I don't know, lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Maybe that is like some kind of wisdom that's I don't know. But I just want to say that I love you guys, and I know this, that whatever is wrong, whatever is wrong doctrine wise, like in with this channel, if it's kind of open and untied, some things are a little bit off, and you notice it, God will for sure land the plane, with or without me. He will round it out and make it right. So it will tighten up. It will get better. And if there's things that are changing for good, right? And you're like, wow, finally things are getting serious, or what, you know, whatever, then that's good too. Then it's indication that we're going in the right way. I trust God every time I come on here for that the right thing is always going to happen. And sometimes it does take a couple of shows for things to sink in, right? And sometimes things get said that are a little bit, the pendulum swings the wrong way or goes a little too far one way. But we will figure it out. Well, he will figure it out. And I will humbly just be here for it, you know. Alrighty, guys. Praise Jesus for his sacrifice and grace. All glory to God because he deserves it. And pray for the children. Pray for each other. Pray for anyone being victimized. I'll see you guys tonight at 4 p.m.